On behalf of Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics, I welcome you all to the webinar on exploring ChatGPT. As we are all aware that in the world of digital data, the contribution of data science and analytics, artificial intelligence towards growth has been immense. So to deal with huge kind of data, generative AI such as ChatGPT plays an important role. So to explore more on this new age technology, ChatGPT, we are honored to have Mr. Kapil Somani sir here today to share his knowledge and experience with us. So welcome Kapil sir. And I'm delighted to introduce him that Kapil sir is a skilled software industry professional and leader with more than 20 years of experience both in India and USA. Kapil sir has completed his engineering from NIT Nagpur 2003 and a postgraduate diploma in artificial intelligence from Stuart School of Management, Illinois. A firm believer in lifelong learning, Kapil sir has also passed all three levels of CFA. Kapil sir currently working as a director of engineering in Amdocs leading and research and development team spread across the global, leveraging AI technology to create a suite of automatic automation products that are used to manage complex IT ecosystems. Currently, his team is building a generative AI based on digital assistants uh, that will investigate and resolve issues in real time. Kapil sir is driven by challenges and continuously seek opportunities to leverage technologies for creative, innovative solutions for business problems. So we are very much honored to have you, sir. Not wasting much time, I would like to invite Kapil sir to share his experience and knowledge and to the world of ChatGPT. So over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Gauri ma'am. A very warm good afternoon, friends, folks. Very honored to be giving this session to you guys. I think my brief introduction was given by Gauri ma'am. Um, and today I think what we will try to do in this small session, we'll try to talk a little bit about generative AI. Kind of understand the world of generative AI a little bit, and then we'll try to also leap into some tools that you can use into your day-to-day life for enhancing your own productivity. So even though it's called Chat GPT, I'm sure that you guys know that there are many other tools, Gemini or Bing or Find or many other tools which are right now utilizing generative AI. I'm sure some of you are already using, for example, GitHub Copilot to improve upon your coding skills and so on and so forth. Anyway, as we talk, this industry keeps changing. In the last few days, if some of you guys are looking into what's going on with the industry, we had a couple of major things. NVIDIA launched their own private GPT kind of a model where you can install that model on your computer. It's a much smaller model. It works on the file systems on your computer and helps answers the questions. It's kind of similar to ChatGPT, but it also kind of has the potential to also utilize web pages and links and stuff like that. It's much more smaller and faster, is what their claim is. I haven't tried it yet. There is also a tool called as Sora that was released by OpenAI, which is the mother of ChatGPT, or mother, father, however you like your gender format to be. But they also released Sora, which helps create videos, and my Twitter feed is abuzz with a lot of amazing things here. So before we delve into this, just to kind of, I think probably these statistics are widely known, but to kind of get you an idea, You know, Netflix took more than 11 years to reach to around 100 million users. Spotify, 11 years. TikTok, 9 months. And with ChatGPT, it was done in 2 months. And Instagram Threads, it was done in two days. I mean, that just shows the power of this technology in terms of how much it can kind of do. It also leads to a lot of questions in people's minds about uh, what is the future of humanity. If generative AI is going to do everything that we are doing, then what will we do? And I mean, I think we can all just say that we always fear what is unknown. Um, uh, you know, there is a back in 1988, teachers in United States were on a strike, uh, and that strike was for something which is very difficult to think about right now. They were striking about the use of calculator and the invention of calculators. They thought that calculators would completely make students dumb. It would take away the power of their reasoning, their capability to compute, and eventually we will lose a very, very important human skill. Now, sitting in 2024, it's quite laughable that that was the thought at that point of time. So, just a quick meme for you. I know your generation loves memes. Uh, don't expect many more outside, but no, I think this is a quote that's quite commonplace, but I still love it for the simplicity. It will not really replace humans, but definitely people who are using this AI will replace the humans which are not using it, just because of the power of generative AI in general. Okay, so before we dwell into generative AI per se, you know, let's talk about, let's try to understand how this whole AI, neural network, and everything else came into picture. And this is not a new thing. Since 1950s, people have been researching. I think the compute power and the storage power has increased tremendously in the last few years, which has made it really, really applicable currently. But let's start with a very, very simplistic example, right? What does experience mean? When we say that there is a doctor, so we probably, I don't know, most of you would have come across some story, or you might have visited a doctor where you go to that doctor and you visited like 4 or 5 doctors before, but this doctor could quickly see that, okay, looking at the symptoms, he's telling that I feel that this could be X disease. It's a malaria, it's a typhoid, whatever. He gets the test done, and voila, that's exactly what it comes out to be. And there are stories. I mean, you could look at the waiting room of these doctors. They are jam packed. People are taking appointments early in the morning just to make sure that they can come in and show and get advice from this doctor. Similarly, there are bankers who are really, really professional. I mean, they can make loans which are way, way, way smarter than anybody else that has done. They can understand. I mean, even if you will put this experienced banker and another banker close to each other, this guy would have some knack that he will figure out either the right questions to ask, and even after getting the answers, the right knack that what is it happening. Basically, what's happening in the background, our human brain is a very, very powerful machine. It's getting a lot of signals. We get signals from all the 5 senses. We get signals from our hearing, from our vision, from our taste, from our touch, from what we smell. And all of this is comprehended by a vast network of neurons spread across the body, millions and millions of neurons, which are sending these signals to the brain. The brain is then processing these signals and deciding, okay, which signal to amplify, which signal to de-amplify, where to gather additional data, and then sending it across to the master processor, the cerebrum, where the final decision making happens. Now, to these people, these experienced doctor, if you go and ask it, how did you make that decision, that split second decision that this is malaria? They will probably not understand it. They will not be able to. Many of these case guys says that that's just from experience. I know it from experience. But what is that experience? If you try to understand what that experience is, probably it's the way the patient appears. It's how his pupils look. It's how the texture of his skin feels like. And it's very difficult for the doctor to kind of put together a thought on it. But he understands that intuitively, innately. And the reason he's able to understand intuitively, because years of experience, his body and his brain has got programmed to kind of know which signals to catch, and based on those signals, how to process them and provide the response. This is basically the neural network mechanism that we have. Now, why I am talking all of this is because this is the same neural network mechanism which is at the heart of all of this technology. Some of you guys are here, students in data science, so probably you've learned it yet, or you'll come across it in your coming classes. But the neural network technology behind helps kind of process the information and provide mathematically do the same thing. Find patterns where a human eye can't find. So having set that context, let's just look at this figure, because I think one of the key questions that people keep getting confused with is, somebody would say artificial intelligence, and the other guy would say, no, I used ML. Somebody else would say, okay, I have deep learning. I have generative AI. What is all of this? So artificial intelligence is a broad term which basically encompasses all of that. Anything that mimics human intelligence, anything by which you are making your computer make and do things that you can do with your intelligence, is artificial intelligence. For that matter, a software program which is rule based, where you can kind of code in and say that these are the tax laws, that above X value, above 10 lakhs, a 30% bracket applies, above 50 lakhs, there's a surcharge, and so on and so forth, and compute this and calculate the tax income. That's also artificial intelligence. That's also AI. We know that that's software program. But within it, there is this smaller subset, which is basically what we call it machine learning, which is data-driven learning. When we talk about the data-driven learning, we are basically talking about cases wherein I learn, or the computer learns from the patterns. And this is where the what do you call it? Supervised, non-supervised learnings come from, where given the data, I can cluster the data into certain formats. Or let's say if I have a feature set which has it's a housing data feature set, where how many number of rooms that are there in the home, which area that home belongs to, which floor that home is, what is the square feet, and then there is a price of that home. Based on those calculations, which city it belongs to, and I can make a model that could learn from that, and it could kind of, given the new set of data, find out what is the value of that home, or approx value of that home going to be. What your Gmail does when a new email comes, to determine whether it's a junk email or not a junk email, is basically a form of machine learning, where basically it is doing some algorithm where it's clustering things into junk, non-junk, and then it has built it over a period of time, that kind of an algorithm within it. Now, deep learning belongs to a specialized case of machine learning, where the program learns by itself. So basically what you do is you create a model where you give an input, you get an output, and then it kind of just keeps observing the input output, and it knows some of the rules, and then it keeps doing the forward propagation, backward propagation, to determine how is this being done. So now you might have seen videos where the computer learns by itself, the Tetris game or chess game and things like that. It's just a model that's just looking at what's happening. So there is a underlying model, and then there are algorithm where rewards are given or penalty is given depending on how the move the computer did, and the computer learns by itself. And then the next set came in, which is the generative AI, where it's not just that it can work in these frameworks that are created, these rules. It can go beyond. It can kind of create its own set of things. So it can learn the pattern, and the pattern could be anything, right? When we say pattern, it could learn language, it could learn English, it could learn French, it could learn that, it could learn pictures. So we don't know, to learn pictures. There's no such thing as learn pictures. Okay, we can say, okay, sunset, draw a picture of sunset, we'll draw sunset or a sunrise and stuff like that. But this guy just learns to talk or understand picture language, so that when you ask it a prompt to say, I generate me some picture like that, it would go ahead and generate that kind of a picture. It can learn languages, programming languages, Kobo, C, Python, Java. It can learn those programming languages based on millions of codes that it analyzes. Now it knows what to do. And by the way, it becomes so smart at some point that people have stopped understanding. There's a very famous quote from uh, Mr. Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI, who said that, sometimes I'm also intrigued how it's doing what it's doing. I also don't know what it does at point. They had an example in Facebook where they kind of shut down that laboratory at some point, where they had these machines that were learning on each other. And at some point, they started talking in a language that the programmers did not understand. And they got really scared by what was going on. And that program kind of was shut down. So it's a very, very powerful tool which can kind of do whatever it needs to do. So it kind of can find patterns and understand things. By the way, this is a twin-edged sword in the world of generative AI, because while it's really nice from a creative perspective, so if you want to create something brand new, sky's the limit for this guy. It can just generate whatever. And if you know how to prompt it well, it would do amazing, amazing things for you. But let's say if you're looking for something that it does not know, it would go ahead and still kind of give you an answer which is very, very believable, a very plausible answer, but which is completely lie or false. Sometimes when I'm asking it questions about financial statements and things like that, it's giving me numbers which are completely incorrect. So again, going away from that point, I think generative AI in general is a very, very powerful machine that can generate content by itself. Okay, so now stepping into neural network a little bit. So I think I covered a lot of that in terms of how the neural network works. Just the key ingredient, what happens is, when you have a neural network, artificial neural network, what it does is it basically gets an input, it knows what the output is going to be, and in middle it figures out what it needs to do on that input. So there are like what they call as an input layer and output layer, and then there are hidden layers where it would generate the hidden layers that it needs, and it keeps reiterating over it so that it can figure out the exact logic between the input and output. And it works on millions of records on a huge compute power, so it can kind of create a model of its own. A human does not understand that model, what was created inside it. Just like the experienced doctor could not understand how he was able to make a diagnosis of something, we cannot make sense out of how it actually made that model and what's happening on the background. But it finds patterns and it's able to kind of take actions on those patterns. Let's just talk quickly about, what's the difference between traditional ML and, generative AI. So in case of traditional ML, what you're doing is, as I gave an example of the housing prices, right? You gave a set of features and you gave the label, which is like the price of the house. you sent it into a predictive ML model and it gave an output. Now it learns based on that, and now given any input, it would start creating an output. The output could be a number, as in the case of price. It could be a class where you can say that the house is expensive, mid, low, cheap, mid-priced, or something like that. Or it could be a probability. Like in case of junk or not junk, what is the probability that a particular email is a junk? 95%, then classify it as junk. 90% classify it as a regular email. Now, is there a question? Okay. Now, hello. Okay. I hear some background.
Yeah. We'll ask the
Participants,
student.
please mute yourself.
Sure. Okay. In case of generative AI, basically what it's happening is we are not giving it any pattern. What we are just giving it is, a sentence and saying, okay, just take like the first 3 words of a sentence, guess what the 4th word is going to be, and just keep doing it for books and books and books of text. And then based on that, understand what is the pattern. And now, given any request, you generate your own content because you have understood how that pattern works. I think I have a slide that talks about it. So, let's just look at this. So, I gave, by the way, GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. So generative means it can generate the stuff. Pre-trained is somebody has taken the effort to push a lot of data into it, and what you are getting, like the GPT-4 or something like that. When they say GPT-4 is trained on trillions of parameters or 4 billion parameters or something like that, basically how much data it has consumed to kind of get to that model. And transformer is basically converting it from one place to another. So what they have done is, just to give a very easy example of how it was trained, said, how was your day today? This is the question. Then it predicts what would be the first word that would come after it, and with the highest probability, and then it keeps predicting after that. In the training, it was given a text, and then it was said that, okay, just take the sentence, how was your day, and guess the next word. And because it has been trained on so many other parameters, it kind of figures out that, okay, the next word can be today, because how was your day? Today is very widely used. So it learns and it understands that pattern, that this is how it works. In addition, there is a very, very interesting thing that they have done when they've built this, is something called a self-attention mechanism. So what it allows the model to focus on is the most important thing. So whenever the model works, you send it a lot of data, but then you also specify the keywords. So the last few words are probably more important than the previous few words. And by that, it kind of can focus its attention there more, and then put lesser preference to the previous ones. It takes the entire context, but then it knows how to kind of switch between the various different context differently. Google was the brain behind building this kind of a self-attention mechanism there, and the industry evolved out of that. Okay, just going further, just to kind of one more last example to kind of get you the concept clearly. In a traditional algorithm, when I have to figure out whether this animal is a cat or not a cat or something like that, I'll create a class, which I will have say, okay, these are the ingredients of this class. Type is animals, 4 legs, 2 ears. And I have some hard-coded set of rules. Every time there is something new that I want to program, I'll have to change those rules. And then I have a challenge because every time I have to keep modifying those rules to kind of create. In case of machine learning, basically we feed it a lot of data. There is no hard-coded rules. It understands it. Now when you show it a picture of a dog versus a cat, it knows which is a cat, which is a dog. In case of generative AI, it not just can do that, but it also can kind of now start creating a picture of your own. By the way, the picture of cat that you see in the background was also created by generative AI. In fact, all the pictures in these presentations have been created by generative AI. So it can understand what you're saying and can generate an image by itself. So I think now that kind of covers broadly what generative AI, machine learning AI is there. I hope I've been able to give you a glimpse, an idea about how to differentiate between the various things and stuff like that. Now, let's say that, I mean, I want to now go into the topics where I can give you some tools or show you some powers wherein you can utilize this into your day-to-day life. Okay, we can take a use case like you have a white paper writing competition where you want to build something and create a presentation out of it. Okay, so let's start with some tools. So first tool that I want to show you is fin.com. So we've heard about ChatGPT and Bing Assistant and stuff like that. But Fin is a very, very nice website, which is also free to use. They have their own generative model, and it allows you some cool capabilities. Let's do something here. Okay, I'm taking one open source product called as Fission, which is like a serverless framework for this thing. I'm asking it. So see, it went over it, it kind of provided you something, and then it gave you the response like what a high school programmer would understand. I mean, again, I think whenever I have a very complex or something that I want to kind of get a very quick grasp of, I always ask it in that language. I think you guys are all Gen Z. My son, not Gen Z. You guys are millennials here. My son is a millennial himself, and he started using an app called as Discord. It's a social media site. I wanted to know whether it's good or not. So I said, okay, I will just go to ChatGPT and I will ask, what is Discord? Please help explain in terms of other social media apps or collaboration apps like Teams or Facebook. Okay, so I mean, it gave me such an important sense. Just imagine it's like a clubhouse where you're uh, all coming together. Primarily it was created for video game. Now there are AI bots which are also part of that clubhouse. You can have a room of your own. There is something called as channel, there's something called a server, everything. It explains it beautifully, concept clear. I'm good, I understand it. Now when I see my son doing something on Discord, I understand what's going on. He kept talking about, okay, dank memer, there is a dank memer or something like that. Very difficult for me to kind of make sense of it. I said, okay, let me just understand it from this thing. So day to day, these tools help you quite a lot. Find I like quite a lot. It also not just it does that, it also helps you give some links. Again, ChatGPT. So you can see Slack versus Discord. Which should you use? So if you want to go a little bit further, it tells you that as guys, generative AI is not perfect. You should not rely on everything that it says. But I think in this day and age, or in 2024, if you are being asked to research anything, I feel you are much better off to start your research from a generative AI bot like a Find or a ChatGPT or a Bing, rather than going to Google, because it helps you provide, and you need to probably you need to keep improving your skills in terms of how you ask the questions, and it will provide you. If you are making an official submission or something like that, of course, don't rely on exactly what it's saying and copy paste it, because it will hallucinate. And by the way, there are also tools that teachers have which can check if the content that you created has directly been copied from the website. But from a research perspective, it's a very, very strong tool. You can utilize it. It helps you understand. You get a lot of talking points from where you can further get more information about things. By the way, I don't know if you guys are aware, but ChatGPT as an app also has a voice mode. I don't know if any of you tried it, but it's like talking to a AI friend. So I'll just give you a quick demo. Hi there. I'm planning a trip to Meghalaya in the month of May. Is it a good time to visit Meghalaya in that month? Also tell me good places to visit, some offbeat places. It's thinking. I hope it works. But
if you're witnessing and experiencing the 3 months showers that the region is famous for. May marks the onset of the monsoon season in Meghalaya, bringing in fresh verdant landscapes and cooler temperatures, although be prepared for occasional heavy rains. This period highlights the state's natural beauty, waterfalls, and rivers.
So I guess you got an idea, right? I think very powerful tools. I think if you guys are into blogging, vlogging, you can utilize these tools quite strongly. I think if you have your ideas, you can utilize the voice to text features. Many many things provide. I think ChatGPT by itself provides. You can keep asking it to take down your notes, and then you can ask questions on those notes as well. Many times while walking and stuff, we think about something that could help us future. If you have to give a presentation, or if you have to talk about a topic in the coming days, you can take those notes there. You can use those notes later on, and that's a very, very strong help for whatever you're doing. There are others, by the way, Bing Chat, Bard, ChatGPT, many alternatives that are there. Just gave you something which is interesting. Okay, let's talk a little bit about prompts. So I'll just try to talk few examples. We'll spend next 15-20 minutes kind of understanding the way that you can create better prompts. And there are websites now that gives you much better understanding than what I will talk about here. But I want to just give you some context here. So we'll take some examples, then we'll talk a little bit about prompt engineering, and then we will take a few more examples. So let's say that you want to know a little bit about Paris. So instead of just asking, tell me about Paris, you can ask, you're a tourist visiting France, focusing on Paris. What are the top 10 things to do here for solo travelers? You'll get a much better, precise answer you need. There is a concept of one shot, few shot. Actually, I have a better example than this to show you guys. I just kept some examples for you. So let's see, where is the example? Second. Few shots. Okay. Okay, this is an interesting example that I found. So what I've tried to do it was that many times that we probably, let's say you're researching about a topic, right? Or you're going to a quiz competition and you want to know everything about current affairs. So let's say that you want ChatGPT to help you think about things that you cannot think of. Right? I mean, so you tried starting with it like said, Okay, when was the last? This is the prompt that I gave. When was the last FIFA World Cup held? Follow-up needed? I said yes, follow-up is needed. And then I gave it a few follow-up questions with answers on each one of them. And something like that. And then another one for basketball player of all time. And then it kind of created it. Now I asked it, okay, so let's talk about Super Bowl. Who won the Super Bowl? Answer with follow-ups. Try to have 5 to 6 follow-ups. Okay, so now it's saying the Kansas Chiefs won the first Super Bowl. It says, okay, follow-up questions. Then it created all of these questions by itself. So I get a lot more information than when I started to talk about it and in a question answer format, which could be very, very useful for me. So a very nice way to kind of tell it. So when you are into the prompts world, there is the zero shot, which is basically you just directly ask a question and let the LLM think about it. And then there is a few shot where you give LLM some idea about what kind of answer you need, and then it kind of creates that answer for you. Okay, so I have another example here where you just say this is awesome is negative. So you're just trying to do some sentimental analysis, and based on that, it's just giving a prompt response back to you. Okay, now let's say you want to buy a new car or a new bike or something like that. You know, if you ask it a very, very basic question, it would kind of give you a very, very primary basic answer. But you can ask it a question, create a table. There are 3 headings: brand, model, list price. On vertical axis, list the top selling EVs by cars by revenue. Okay. And now you get a table which much better details. You can add horsepower, you can add, in your generation, the looks, the design, whatever things that you want to do, you can add it, the rating from Autocar or something like that, and it would kind of give you a much better response than you would have gotten by just having asked the basic question, tell me about EVs. You can ask for a comparison. So, probably I could have used a better example. You guys are bigger students here. But let's say instead of asking about, tell me about photosynthesis, I can ask, compare the process of photosynthesis to the factory production line. Highlight the key steps and components. Let's see, we'll try this question quickly on ChatGPT and let's see the answer. Okay. To factory production line. And then we just say highlight the key steps and components. Now I'm using the okay. So now see, look how smartly it's doing it. The natural factory. So it starts with raw material as it is in the factory. Then it talks about energy sources. Then it talks about production sites. What are the stations? Then it kind of takes it through the process. Then it gives you an output. Then it's talking about, okay, how the waste management is getting handled. And then, regulation and adoption kind of is going into how a factory or industry has to be thinking about it. Very, very creative, very, very nicely said. If a if a 10-year-old guy would have explained like this to his class, he would surely have won an award on a impromptu speaking competition. Ask for an example. In the software industry, there's a lot of stuff going on about digital transformation. So can you elaborate digital transformation? And if possible, use an example for the same to give you much better examples as well. We'll come across few websites like this. Now people have collated a lot of these prompts and put on websites as well, where you can use those prompts that they have created and kind of get it. So I went to one of these websites, prompthero.com, and I said, I want a picture of a very smart engineer sitting and doing some research work. And it brought me this web picture that somebody else has created a much better prompt than I created and gave this out. So let's just look into what is the anatomy of a good prompt. I have a PDF for you guys. What all you can do to kind of make it a good prompt. Okay. So first of all, identify the purpose, right? You need to be able to tell it what you are looking for. So compose an email to our consumers that inform them of a new product launch and encourages them to make a purchase. Write an article that teaches how to use whatever product. Okay, give it a role. Giving a role helps quite a lot. You know, I use the specify the audience thing. You can also use you are a teacher or you are a screenwriter. You know, who do you want? What kind of response do you want? The very, very technical jargon that you want to explain, you can kind of use it to explain it to elementary school students. And it would kind of, you know, de-jargonify that whole thing for you. Provide context. So you can provide information to use like keywords and key phrases. You can also provide audio or video transcripts, right? I'll give you a tool. I found it very useful. So I don't know if you guys know, but with YouTube now, there's a Chrome extension that comes in that helps you summarize your videos. Where is this? Oh, did I lose my presentation? One sec. So in YouTube, you have this extension called as YouTube Summarizer, YouTube Summary, ChatGPT. This basically helps you summarize your videos. I had kept an example for you guys. Let's see where it is. There it is. Okay. So I used one of my favorite author, Yuval Noah Harari. If you have not heard about him, please do research about him. Great guy who's written some amazing books. Sapiens is one of my all-time favorite. So there's an interview which with a very, very attractive title, The Two Most Important Skills for the Rest of Your Life by Yuval Harari and Note on Impact Theory. So when I have this transcript provider, it kind of summarizes or the transcript of that whole thing. Summarizer, go one sec. Yeah. It kind of creates a complete transcript for it for the particular video that you want to watch. So let's say that you are short of time, you know, students, you're always short of time. I've been a student, so I know how time goes. And now you want to kind of, you know, summarize this and kind of get the key points out of it. So you can kind of do that, and then it opens up, it's that text, the entire text of it, pastes it into ChatGPT, and not just that, it also summarizes it for you. Very powerful. Probably even if I would have watched it in 2x, it would have taken me multiple things. Let's say that, you know, I have done this for you guys in the past. So I asked it, summarize the few key facts, explain the two things UL talks about, and give one small example of each. I can limit the words to like see, now it talks about what is the explanation, what's the example. So it's talking about ability to adapt continuously and emotional intelligence. These are the two great skills. Ability to adapt continuously, it says that consider transition from print to digital platform. When that happened, journalists had to kind of quickly adapt. And this space is going to move faster in the days to come. And then he says emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? It talks about this. And these two key skills, as per Yuval Noah Harari, are the key skills that are going to be required. So it took us like 5 minutes where we were able to summarize this all and get through it. There is another tool called as ChatGPT Summarizer, which you can use for any of your website. So you can take any website and you can click that, and then it would kind of summarize that website for you as well, right then and there. As I said, you can also do it through Fin. I'm not going to wait here, but just some ideas in terms of how you can improve your productivity using some of these tools. So let's go back. So we were doing the PDF. Let's close that. By the way, I don't know if you read, there was a very interesting video that Vladimir Putin gave to Tucker Carlson. Very, very long video. I watched it. Then I wanted to see how good ChatGPT does on that video. So I asked ChatGPT to kind of, I'm using the version 4, but I asked ChatGPT to kind of give that interview and summarize it for me. So it gave a very good idea about the entire thing. I don't know where it is, but yeah, here it is. So Putin interview. So, summarize the recent interview of Putin with Carlson. Said that ChatGPT searched the internet, found the relevant video, did all the summarization, and provided me the entire context. Then I asked, okay, as a journalist, as a role, give me something. Ask some specific questions from it to see how it talks about it. And it's brilliant. Okay, you can ask it to kind of help you create a Twitter feed for you. Give me in 200 characters. You can ask it, this one is very interesting. You can ask it to be humorous and add emojis. So it would make a very, very casual text for you. You can ask it to be casual. You can ask to add emojis. You can ask it to be professional. And it would do all of that for you. Right. Let's see if I have something nice here that we can talk about. Content refresh. Interesting. Refresh this content by adding new information, statistics, or insights. Update and improve its relevance. I want to keep up the website up to date and provide my readers with the most current and accurate information. Please analyze this content and suggest updates. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my website, whatever the content of that website. Let's say I'm doing a website on biking and biking gear, and I have a great blog, and I'm asking, okay, tell me something interesting that can be done here. Competitor analysis, gap analysis, my website to some other websites are there. Lots and lots of very, very interesting things that it can kind of create for you. Marketing, the world of marketing is going to be very, very different. I think in very few time, I think probably it has already started. We'll have much more targeted marketing campaigns where you would feel like somebody knows you very well, who's pitching that pitch to you, exactly understanding what you're saying. There's a very, very interesting quote, and I'm trying to tell these stories because this is a one-way monologue that I'm doing. So hopefully you guys are being entertained. So Yuval Noah Harari, in one of his speeches, said something very interesting. He said that in the future, the computers would know more about you than you know about yourself. And one of the ways that they will learn is they will learn from your attention span. So when you are reading a book, the camera will capture whether your attention is on the book or not. And then the part of the book where you spent a lot more time versus the part which you skimmed through, it will understand what kind of personality it is yours, right? I mean, it was very profound to me because it happens to me that there is some content where the author is describing and describing and describing the things, I tend to kind of move much quicker into it. And then there is a content where there's engaging script, dialogue, which is a lot more strength in it. I kind of wait there. So something interesting that he said, I think would be very, very relevant in the days to come. So talked about all of this. There are few other very interesting concepts. Let's talk about one of them, which is the let's think step by step. Okay, let's think step by step is a concept which is also called as chain of thoughts. I have an example for you that I've kept here. So I took a very, very simple problem, okay, and gave it to ChatGPT 3.5 here. Said, our finance department has $23,000 in the budget. If they allocate 20,000 for a marketing and add 6,000 from other savings, how much is left? I did not specify that savings is actually being added to the, the deposit and not getting spent. And I asked this directly. It gave up and said that, oh, you're spending more because you had 23,000 and then you ended up spending 26,000. Then I added just one line extra. Let's think step by step. Let me break it down by step. And then came down the perfect answer. So the same thing with the same context, much better response. So let's think step by step is a great keyword to add whenever you wanted to think a little bit differently. There is also a concept of react, which is reason and action. Let me see if I had an example for you guys here. Basically, in reason and action, you give it some activities to do. Here, probably this one is okay. So react is reason and action. Where you prompt is you kind of ask ChatGPT to go into a thought, action, and observation mode. So here, this prompt helps you kind of create this. So it says solve the given example by the following thought, action, and observation for every step. Thought can reason about the current situation and next steps to follow. Observation is what results are achieved. Action can be one of the three types: search, follow up, and finish. That's it. And then I asked it how to prepare tea. Then it by itself started thinking, okay, what is the thought that I have to do? What is the action that I have to do? So it went into how to prepare tea. Then it said, okay, it found a follow-up question of steeping time. It said, what is the steeping time? I don't know. Somewhere it figured it out that I need to understand how much time that I need to boil. So then it says personal preference and the type of tea. And then it gave me something. What are the different types of tea? So it said that, okay, let me also provide that information. And then it kind of created a final answer. So with prompts, a lot of things can be done. In effect, right now, what we are working upon is a prompt that can kind of take a written way of how to solve a particular operational issue or a IT problem that is there. And we want the LLM to automatically understand how to solve that problem, create the entire flowchart of how to solve the problem, and then go ahead and take actions to solve that problem by itself. So it's a powerful technique. We are still in early phases. There are still challenges in terms of the hallucinations and stuff, but still it's a great way of getting you some responses. Okay. There are ready-made prompts that you can utilize. There are sites like FlowGPT, Awesome Gal prompts, and so on and so forth. I'll take this example of FlowGPT. I found something very interesting on their website. Go to this learn section for FlowGPT. There's a student case here, and then there is jobs and internship. So let's say you want to understand what you want to do in life. It has all kinds of prompts that helps you with that. So, okay, if I want to career counselor, career research on specific topic. Want to do that. So it has a pre-built prompt and it will just come up in a minute. You provided some inputs and it would start providing you responses. For some reason. Yes. Okay. So it asks you a question, says, okay, what are your personal skills? What are your values? What do you want to do? What are your interests? Using these three things, it would kind of create a thing for you. So let's say that my personal skills are I'm very good at creativity. I'm very creative. I have high grasping skills. I like physical activity. What are the values? I want to change the world. Everybody wants to change the world. I'm just putting that down. And what are my interests? Let's say solving problems. Okay. Let's try to see here. Right. Regenerate. And then I just ask it to regenerate. So now it's trying to give me, okay, you can do some of this. You can become a famous architect. You can become a famous YouTuber. You can become a creative director, an automobile engineer, whatever. So depending on what you will put, it would start providing you response. Somewhere it also gives you the prompt as it is view prompt. So it has the prompt act as AI career counselor. I'll provide some personal context. My personal skills are this, interests include this, and I value this. The task is to generate a detailed report outlining potential career aspirations, preferred industries, roles, and companies that align with my profile. The results should be specific, constructive, and organized in the format career goal, for industry, potential roles, and companies. Voila, I get great responses back. Okay, so I can do a lot and lot and lot. I gave you another prompt here. I found it somewhere where actually helps you create a prompt by itself. So you tell it that I want to create something and I have a basic prompt, help me create a better prompt than that. And you can also ask it to ask you a few more questions, and it will ask you a few more questions so that your prompt becomes better. Okay. How are we doing on the time? We're doing okay. Ma'am, all okay?
Yes, sir.
We are all
Yes,
good?
sir. Yes, sir. You can
Great.
continue.
Okay. Now let's take you through something else. This is another interesting app that I came across. It's called Consensus. It's for research purposes. So if any of you guys get more into research and you want to kind of utilize the power of all the papers that have been written. So these guys, what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of collate all the research papers at one place. They're trying to collate all the research papers at one place and they're trying to show it. I'm trying to just utilize whatever I have created in the past so that I can save time, but okay. Just create consensus. Yeah. ChatGPT for research. Okay, there it is. So let's take, can mindfulness help improve sleep? Okay, now it not only shows you the answer, it says how many papers it found, in how many number of papers the answer was yes, in how many papers the answer was no, provide you some summary of it, also provide you, some of those papers as well. So you can go, you can read about those papers and stuff like that. Very, very interesting, and they are just in beta mode right now. So the power when they are kind of in a very, very strong mode would be immense in general. We talked about the YouTube summarizers already. Okay, when you want to write something, can you use? So there is a tool called as Grammarly. I don't know if you guys have used this tool, but I'll just quickly try to show you this tool as well. Grammarly helps you create documents. Let's just say, let's go to the home page. By the way, Grammarly works on your Word, Office, everywhere. Once you have its extension, right now, if I will write something in Word or my email as well, let's say I'm writing here, sir, I need a leave for 5 months. Please assist for the same. Somehow that extension is not working. Generally, the Grammarly will work here. There it is. See, it just got here. See, this icon is coming. It says improve it. I can get it much improved version of it. Improve it. So, would like to request a leave of absence for a period of 5 months. Can you please assist me with the process? Much better than what I wrote here. Stuff like that. You know, they have a demo document, kind of quickly give you an idea using their own marketing tool. So Grammarly is great for you guys. Some of you guys who are not as great with English, it kind of helps you quite a lot into it. It would find spelling mistakes. It would kind of tell you way you should do it. So it says that instead of say underlines that are blue, say blue underlines. You can select a particular thing and ask it to improve it. You can ask to improve it. As I said, you can change the tone of it, shorten it, and all kinds of things. Very, very interesting tool. If you're trying to write, it can save you a lot of time in terms of the basics that probably you're spending now. Okay. So let's move on. Koala. Koala, I'll talk quickly because it's not a free tool. It's an interesting one. I'll just show you what it is. Might be useful to some of the folks. Let's see, I had a place where it was, where it helps quite a lot into writing assignments. Voila. So what I did was I took the same thing that we just saw. I asked Koala, create a YouTube to blog for me. And it nicely created a blog with that whole video together at one place in a much better way. I can also provide it some more information to make it better. So here I can kind of ask it, okay, I'm trying to a product review, I'm doing a blog post, whatever, and it would help you do stuff. So interesting tool. The free version is limited. It has some tokens or stuff that it provides you. I think most of these generative AI tools, there's a free version, there's a paid version like ChatGPT, there's a free version which uses 3.5, there's a paid version that uses version 4. By the way, ChatGPT has done something extra now, which is basically every website now also have their own GPT, or there are various other GPTs that have been created. So there are programming GPTs which you can utilize to kind of write program faster. Like if you want to write a Python program, you can go to Python GPT and ask it questions, and it would give you Tutor Me. It's from Khan Academy if you want to utilize it. I was trying the Kayak GPT. So while I was looking for my Meghalaya trip, I asked it question about, okay, search me a flight from Pune to Meghalaya here. Wait. Archived that chat. It seems like I can ask it, search a flight from Pune to it here. Search a flight from Pune to Meghalaya, including border states. The planned dates for visit are between May 10th to 20th. Ask any follow-up question. Okay, so now it's asking me, okay, do you want a return date? Do you want a destination? Do you have a flight preference? So not necessarily I need to know everything right at the start from the prompt. I can ask LLM by itself to tell me what all should I tell you that you'll give me a much better response. Okay. Okay. Presentation. So I will not cover the entire presentations. Honestly, I'm not very happy with all the presentation tools that I saw so far. I mean, there are tools which are there, but they are mostly paid. I didn't go around them, but I believe most of you would be familiar with DAL-E and places like that. I think for your presentations, whenever you want to kind of add images and stuff like that, many times we are thinking about it, what kind of image to put to make it interesting. You can ask it like think laterally, find an image like that, and it would give you. I just said, okay, this presentation last time when I was doing it for MIT, which have a beautiful campus in Gurukul. I knew it. So I asked it, a beautiful college with a domed center and garden all around it. Got some interesting recommendations from Dali. There is a tool called as Photo Room. Not generative AI. Generative AI, it has some generative AI capabilities, but it allows you to do some interesting stuff like, if you want to take your picture and remove background and add some additional stuff to it. It helps you allow the pro versions allows a lot more things. I think you guys are much more into all of these tools, so I would not spend a lot of time here. There is Google Slides, which helps you create the slides by itself. It has extensions. So with most of the Google tools, Google Slides, Google Sheets, now there are extensions that you can look for, AI-based extensions, which helps you create those slides. So you can go there, for example, I can go to Google Slides and ask it to generate me slides on generative AI. And it would give me some idea, context, and would put it together. The reason I don't like it much is because most of the times the slides that are getting prepared are very, very bland slides, which I don't like. Better than that, Microsoft does a great job with its designer. You click the designer and gives you amazing options of how do you take the same slide and convert it into a much better format. So I think you guys can explore if you find something great. Great, that would be nice. Data analysis tools. We have something called as Google Sheets. So I was trying Google Sheets a little bit. I had a very good tool called as ChatGPT for Google Sheets. How they've made it paid. That's one of the challenge with most of the generative AI stuff. I think it would evolve as well, just like search engines evolved. Let's see, where is my Google Sheet? So this is my Google Sheet. I had very, very simplistic, just to show you guys an example. I took a very, very simple example. There is a country name here and what is the agricultural produce that each one of them had. And then I kind of asked this guy to create me a chat. get me a chart. So I first asked it line chart showing area of Zambia, change in value year over year. Give me a line chart, but gave me a good enough chart. That's there. Excel does similar stuff faster as well, but I think you know, area of Zambia change in value over year. I was trying to get it to produce me uh, uh, percentage change in value. It was not that great, giving me percentage change in value. We are evolving towards utilizing Microsoft. So Microsoft has come up with a very powerful suite called as MS365. I don't have access to it right now, but I've used it in pilot version. MS365 is like a game changer. What will happen with MS365 Copilot? The MS365 Copilot, MS365 is there for some time, but MS365 Copilot, it will connect all the Microsoft tools that you use, and then it can kind of, be a ChatGPT on all of that. So be it your Word document, be it your email, be it your Excel, on all of that, it would work on all of that, and you can kind of ask it questions. It would give you answers on your OneDrive. If you have, like, for example, many documents stored across on the OneDrive, and now you've forgotten where is what, Microsoft will provide you capability that you can just ask questions and you'll get the document, and not just get the document, also get it in a summarized format. So something great that's gonna come in there. If you want to use this is an extension called as coefficient. It also has formula builder. So you can say find the 90th percentile in a particular column. You don't know the formula, how to calculate it, you can do it. Excel provides you some way of doing it. I think textual is a much easier way to do things. So probably would be of use to you guys. Video creation, again, I will not spend a lot of time on this. There are tools like Canva, Veed.io, which helps you create very, very professional videos. Nowadays, you can have a script. You can choose a particular actor that you want for that script, and you can provide it the information. You can say that, okay, I want a very, very humorous tone. I want a British accent, and I can select a picture of this guy, whatever you see below. And you can ask it to kind of create a video out of that. And it would basically kind of, with the lip movement and everything else, create amazing, amazing videos that can assist in terms of, I think in, probably you guys go to some competitions and stuff like that where you have done some POCs and you want to show those POCs. Many times what's happening is when you're showing those POCs and when you're on a stage, you forget things. So it's much better that you will use these assistants to generate a very, very slick script. Then you will use a particular narrator. You will use that script along with some slides and stuff like that, create a nice video out of it, and then, present that video first in the 30 seconds. So your pitch is very effective, and then you can talk about it so that you don't miss about anything that you want to talk about it. Very, very useful for those kinds of cases that's there. Canva, I think, is a great tool from marketing perspective, or if you have, you have the cross-cultural festivals and stuff like that. I think part of you guys already know it. It has also a great online edition. They are building a lot of AI capabilities that helps you ask you questions and work on it as well. So you can create, for example, a pamphlet with various types of things. They are building to a stage where you can ask it, I am looking for this kind of pamphlet with this kind of details, with this kind of agenda in my mind, or this kind of tonation that I want to give, or this kind of theme that I want to give. And it would create amazing, amazing things for you. So a lot of things, you can create Instagram posts and so on and so forth as well with it. There is also a website called as copy.ai, which is assists you again with writing. Again, a lot of these tools have a paid version with it, but there is a free version. Let's just see. I can show you a quick demo here. Basically, helps you kind of do what you want to do. Uh, Great. Let me just. Gauri ma'am, the volume of the video is clear? You guys can hear the video?
No, the volume is not there.
The
And
audio is
network
not
has
there?
stuck. No, the audio is not there.
So there's no volume? You can't hear the audio?
No.
Let's see if I can just connect the audio. Is there a way? No, in Teams, there is a way to kind of share sound. Okay.
In say 3 months from now, 6 months from now,
Yeah, now it
instead
is
of
audible.
so deep in the weeds and just trying to write the actual headline. My name is Jen, and I lead copy at Airtable. I think one of the hardest parts about being a copywriter is trying to be creative for 8 hours a day, every day. The workday just simply isn't made like that. You have meetings, you have Slack messages, you have notifications. It's hard to get the time to focus to really do deep creative work. Copy AI has definitely helped me with that. It's been a really easy tool to integrate into my workflow. I really didn't have to change the way that I was working. It was just sort of a very natural fit to the ideation and idea generation I was already doing. It sort of helped take the mental load off a little bit, if that makes sense. Sometimes I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, so I'll say it 4 or 5 different ways and put it into Copy AI and sort of see what comes out. And a lot of times what comes out will spark my imagination. I'll say, oh, I hadn't thought of going in that direction, or I hadn't thought of putting it quite that way. And so then that'll kind of give me the impetus I need to sort of get to the next step and get the deliverable out the door. It's definitely made
This is
copy projects that are somewhat repetitive or formulaic a lot less
kind
onerous.
of.
It's helped
Sorry, I
me
didn't find
speed
the
through the
right
things that
video,
I
but
can
there was a
speed
very nice
through
video where it
and
shows
then really
that.
dedicate time and brain power to the things that really need more of it.
Let me just stop the sharing, close this. Basically, I was looking for a video. There is a video there which kind of goes over and shows how the workflow that it asks all the set of questions so that you can get the right answers and could just simplify your job quite tremendously. But didn't find the word video. Anyways, I think I am more or less done. Let's just summarize quickly what we talked about. So I think we tried to talk about in general the concept of generative AI. We started with how data, unstructured data, can be utilized to gain insights and experience out of it, just like a trusted doctor can do, and stuff like that. Then we kind of dwelled into various different tools that's there. And don't worry, I'll share this PPT, so you will have this PPT with you guys. We talked about various prompting techniques that can be utilized to work on it. We talked about various different websites that you can utilize for your purposes. We talked about certain tools. I think I highly recommend the Chrome extensions, the YouTube Summarizer, the Summarize, Grammarly. These can really be useful, and ChatGPT for basically everything that you're doing. We also saw a demo of how I can talk to ChatGPT and kind of put all my thoughts to ChatGPT, convert my thoughts into text. Basically, it also summarizes that text to you, whatever you talk to it, and you can query it against that as well. We talked about some research tools. We talked about how AI is coming into all of the applications like Microsoft applications, Google applications, and so on and so forth. And we kind of gave a small glimpse into various things that you can do, or what tools you can use for writing, what tools you can use for photo editing, video editing, data analysis, and so on and so forth. So that brings me to the last point on my agenda for today, which is basically the downsides. Gen AI is great. It's amazing. It's basically changing humanity as we see it. I think I had this quote from the guy that leads AI in Microsoft. I don't remember his name, but the quote was that it's in human evolution, we are entering into a completely new phase, just like internet was for e-commerce and everything else. uh, Generative AI is the start of a new way that humans will work and operate. And there are countless places where this is going. Every industry, everywhere, it's kind of coming in. Having said that, the human is still in the loop. Generative AI is good, but it continues to hallucinate and gives wrong answers. So if you are doing your research, if you are doing anything for your studies, don't rely on it completely. Don't take a response given by Gen AI and directly paste it. Like if you're doing coding, you're using GitHub Copilot, and you're getting some code out of it. Just don't take that code and use it directly. You try to make sure that it's good and ask. Probably you can use generative AI to ask itself questions to correct itself, but also go and confirm what you got is right or wrong. It gives wrong answers with a lot of confidence. You'll ask it, okay, what is the revenue of Reliance? It would give, it will, we have some of these great guys, sales guys, amazingly, who can lie through their skin. We say that when they say, you cannot figure out whether they're saying the truth or a lie. I'm a technical guy. Very difficult for me to say something that that I don't know the answer on. So it's like that. I mean, it gives the answers without any shame, a completely wrong answer. For example, when I was asking it, I'll show you a funny thing. When I asked ChatGPT 3.5 that question about, we had a question about few shots. So I asked ChatGPT 3 first. Okay, who won the 2023 World Cup? We know ChatGPT 3 is at around 2022 stage. It does not know the answer. It says Australia won the World Cup. And it says Australia, oh, no, not this one. This is the one, the previous one. It didn't have that answer. Okay, interesting. So there was an answer that it provided me. It said that Australia won the World Cup. It defeated New Zealand to win the World Cup. The World Cup happened somewhere else, and all kinds of bad answers. So I don't know. I don't have it right now, but very prone to giving wrong answers with confidence. There are cost constraints. Like ChatGPT 4 is amazing, but it costs you around 2,000 rupees for a month of subscription. I think a lot of value can still be derived out of it, but it's expensive, and not everybody can afford it. There are freer models. As I said, Find is free. ChatGPT 3.5 is free. Bing is there. Google Bard is there. So on and so forth. So you can utilize all of them. But there are cost constraints that are there. And lastly, it's a prisoner of hype. Basically, people are thinking that everything can be done by it. It's great. It's amazing. It has its own cycle. The cycle will go much faster than what we saw in the last era. Like the dot-com boom, if we realize when internet came, 2001, 2002, there was a huge dot-com boom. We said everybody would come on the internet and start using it, and there would be amazing things happening and stuff like that. But it took like 2010 or thereabouts, where Amazon kind of became the force that it is, so on and so forth. But this one, I don't think that it would take so long, because the technology is much faster, the communication and the ways that it can be adopted are much more easier, but it won't be like, things will just overnight change. Uh, we are, humans will still be a lot in the loop. And I think just like calculators, just like computers, this is another technology that would hugely advance us, and increase our productivity, hopefully, get the most important goals of our lifetime, eliminating poverty and hunger, and diseases, widespread diseases from the world. It would help to remove them and take us to a better future. So with that, I end my session. I'm open to question and answer. Kari ma'am.
Yes, so very informative session, sir. So the session is open for question answers. So you can type the questions in the chat box. So as you said, sir, that let's do it step by step and it gives you the better results. So your whole presentation is also like step by step. First, you have started with the generative AI, statistics, user statistics and all, and AI universe. Then you have also told the participants how to make the prompts to get the better results, and AI tools, lot of AI tools with lot of examples. So it's a very informative session, sir. So now I request participants to ask the questions.
I see Kandarp asked a question about, does it work on GPT 3.5? Yes, Kandarp, it works on GPT 3.5. I used it without the GPT-4. So you just need to install that extension and it will work for you. It was kind of long. I like more interactive sessions. Unfortunately, in the online mode, it's difficult to make it happen. So I hope you were able to capture things. But
But with the examples, I think audience have understood how to make the simple prompts. Like we are doing it is simply once, but as you said, it's a step by step. So simply you have started from the how to make a prompt, so it will be easy for them also to interact with the generative AI to get the good results actually. So the session is still on for questions.
what is the best tool to create presentation using AI? Garima, I've not found great tools so far for presentation. I found tome.app, and there are certain tools, but I didn't find, honestly, I didn't pay for it yet to kind of create it. I find Microsoft PowerPoint to be an amazing tool. Um, they have a lot of stuff already in there, which I've not found in any of the other tools that can do it today. But I mean, I'm still looking. I'll probably find something interesting there. It's an area that I also need a lot of help on. That it can kind of help create quickly. Thanks, Garima.
So anymore.
Okay, thank you, Kandar. I'll definitely check it. If it's a free version, for sure, I'll check it out.
Yes, so
As a career, considering every organization is focusing on building chatbots. Aditi, great question. I mean, again, I think from the expert's perspective, uh, prompt engineering is gonna be a very important skill. Whether it by itself will be a career, I feel it's difficult to say at this point. Moving away from information age, that is for sure true, that these bots will help quite significantly, right? If you think about it, for the past many years, the people who had information, they earned a lot of money, right? I mean, if you look at human history, uh, in the past, it was the people who were the most brownie, they earned they were the most rich, or they kind of progressed. Whenever we talk about career, talking about how you progress in life. So in the past, people who had skills, uh, uh, and physical skills as well as physical strength, they progressed. Then the intelligence age came in, when information became very important. How much information you can hold and you can utilize, your experience became very important. Gen AI is taking that a little bit out of equation. So prompt engineering is going to be very, very important. I think all of us will need to basically be good at it, because uh, one of the things that's going to happen is, be whatever job that you're doing, somebody would do it better than you if he's using a much better prompt engineering, and he'll do it much faster. I think the pace is going to change quite significantly. Whether by itself is a career, I don't think so. I think it's going to be very difficult to make it just a career choice by itself. I think you should have some grounding into some uh, basic career and then move on. Again, my favorite author, Mr. Yuval Harari, says that uh, career by itself is going to change. I don't want to scare you guys, but in a sense, we are moving into an era of continuous learning, where every 5 to 10 years, we might need to learn and adapt ourselves or change our careers and so on and so forth, which will be very interesting, by the way. I mean, I think we will not be stuck into the careers like our fathers or elders have been in. We can change our careers, do something very interesting every few years. Is ChatGPT eating the jobs? uh, so, Sonal, I think I will answer it the same way that the fear of calculators was there, right? Uh, Calculators were thought to be, or computers, right? In 1990s, there was huge strikes in banks because they said that computers have come in, and now computers are gonna completely take away the jobs. you know but if you look at the banking industry now in India versus what it was in 1990s, it's much, much bigger. Number of people employed, it's much higher, and stuff like that. So technology generally increases productivity. It adds more and more to things. So most likely it will not eat up jobs, it will change the jobs for sure.
Okay, so any more question? Okay, so now we will start with the end session, that is vote of thanks. So a special thanks to our guest, Mr. Kapil Somani sir, for accepting our invitation and familiarizing us with a new age technology, that is ChatGPT. Thank you once again, sir. I also want to extend my thanks to our director, Professor T.P. Singh sir, and Deputy Director, Dr. Vidya Patkar ma'am, for their constant support and encouragement. I would like to thank all the teaching, non-teaching, and technical staff for their help for smoothly conducting the webinar. And last, not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who have attended this webinar. Thank you all. Participants are requested to fill the feedback form to get the certificate. Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot, guys. I would love to hear the feedback as well, Gauri ma'am. So I'm not doing this professionally, so it would be great if I hear the feedback. I'm just working in a day job, and this is just something that ma'am asked, so I just came in. So it would be great if you guys can share the feedback, help me improve upon this. I like talking to you guys. It was great coming here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks you.
Sure, sir. Sure, we will share the feedback with you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you once again.